Okay, EA, as we know, EA, हामीले के suppose गरौँ, let's say EA be the absolute error of product of two number. How can we find EA? Let we discuss EA. What is EA? EA equals to A plus EA1. Quantity A with its absolute error. See here, this is quantity A with the its absolute error. B plus EA2, quantity B with its absolute error. Okay, see here the product of this quantity A with its absolute error times quantity B with its absolute error minus AB, right? It gives EA. के भयो? Product of AB cancel भयो. तिमीले के पायो? Just absolute error of product of AB भेट्यो. After multiplication, what we have? Very simply, we can see A times EA2, A times EA2, okay, AB plus A times EA2 plus B times EA1 plus EA1, EA2, the product of two error. This is the product of two error. AB cancel out, just we have B times EA1 plus A times EA2 plus EA1 into EA2. Very easily we can see after simplification. Okay, very easily. See here. This simplification easily we can get. Here, EA is equivalent to B times EA1 plus A times EA2. But we neglect this. We omit this. Why do we omit this? EA1 and EA2 both error term. We always expect very less quantity error. We always minimize error. The product of two very less quantity is again very less. Okay, we get non-significance. The value converts to 0, so we can neglect it. यसलाई हामी हटाउन सक्छौं. Non-significant values or it converts or nearly equal to 0. So we neglect this. Just we have EA equivalent to B times EA1 plus A times EA2. Okay, question may raise. Just you have two quantity approximate values. Okay, 3.1415 and 2.1415 like this. Okay, find its absolute error. How can we find? You can suppose A and B are any two quantity and you can easily find their absolute error, right? We have delta x. This gives the maximum absolute error 1 by 2 times 10 to the power minus n. 1 by 2 times 10 to the power minus n. Okay, you can find the quantity A error EA1 and quantity B error EA to power 2, and you can easily find the product of two quantities error of absolute error of product of two quantity EA, which is equivalent to B times EA1 plus A times EA2. Okay, we can take it as a formula or absolute error of product of two quantity, right? Next, तिमीले question सोध्न सक्छौ. Here we can find absolute error of sum of n number, but here we can only find absolute error of product of two number. Can we find absolute error of product of 3 or 4 or 5 or so on? We can find, but here we only discuss absolute error of product of two number. If we have absolute error of product of three number, A, B, and C, A, B, C, EA1, EA2, EA3. Similarly, we can discuss and we can easily find the absolute error of product of three number. But here we discuss only absolute error of product of two number. Next, we discuss what is the absolute error in the quotient AB. Already we have any two quantity A and B, EA1. See here, EA1 is the absolute error of quantity A, EA2, absolute error of quantity B, and we are going to find absolute error in the quotient AB. See here, A over B. We suppose absolute error EA in the quotient A by B. EA is the absolute error in the quotient A by B. What is the formula? How can we get EA? That this actual EA is absolute error in the quotient A by B. See everyone, A plus EA1, see here, it represents quantity A with its absolute error over B plus EA2. This is the quantity B with its absolute error minus A over B. Okay, everyone can see here. This is the quotient of A by B with the absolute error. के घटाइदियो minus quotient of AB bit. घटायो हामीले. After what we get EA. EA is the actual absolute error in the quotient A by B, right? Okay. I mean, final easiest form here. So last line. But very simply we can get, after simplification, we have B times B plus EA2. Okay. तिमीले simplification बाट finally you get B times EA1 minus A times EA2. Again, I highlight EA1 be the absolute error of A quantity, EA2 absolute error of B quantity. See this line, easily we can get after simplification. When we see third line, see here, upper part B times EA1 minus A times EA2. हामी as it is A लेखिरहेको छौं, right? Denominator, I'm taking B square common, but B square common. 1 is here plus E square A over B. Only here is B. Okay, we get this very simply. You can see next EA is equivalent to B times EA1 minus A times EA2 over B square. Here we again neglect E square A means quantity of error quantity, error, absolute error of quantity B. Okay, E square A over B. See here, assuming that this quantity over B is small in comparison with 1. हामीले अघि नै भनेका छौं, we always expect error term very less. Okay, approximate solution is not accurate or real or exact, but we always try to get real or exact or nearer to exact values. हामीले त्यही भनिरहेका छौं. Means only the way, just we minimize the error. So this term we omit, it converts to 0, or no, the value represent non-significant values. Okay, our EA is equivalent to this term B times EA1 minus A times E square EA square over B square. Again, we simplify. EA equals to A by B, taking A by B common. After that, we have EA1 over A minus EA2 over B. We see this result. Jun pattern बाट तिमीले हेर्न नि सक्छौ, but finally we have this form in our textbook. तिमीलाई अब्जेक्टिभमा आयो भने तिमीले लेख्नु पर्ने हुन्छ. Just we stop here. यो फर्ममा गएर हामी स्टप गर्छौं. वा तिमीले माथि नै स्टप गर्न पनि सक्छौ. EA is this. Here EA is the quotient of absolute error in the quotient AB. Just you know A and B, find the absolute error in the quotient AB भन्यो भने you can easily find EA equals to quantity A over B times EA1 over A minus EA2 over B. You know A and B. We have given A and B. A and B are any quantity or any approximate number. We can easily find EA1, absolute error of quantity A, and EA2, absolute error of quantity B from delta X. Delta X means our maximum absolute error that equals to 1 by 2 into 10 to the power minus n. Okay. सन्देश सुनेको छौ सबैले? सन्देश सुनेको छ है. up to now. Anybody have any question? Question छ भने सोध्न सक्छौ कसैले अनम्युट गरेर सोध क्वेशन छ एउटा क्वेशन छ अघि नै भनिसक्यौ म्याम एब्सोल्युट एरर अफ सम अफ एनी n नम्बर बट हामीले any two number को product of any two quotient of any two को किन निकालिरहेछौं अरूको सक्दैनौ भन्ने क्वेशन थियो मैले त्यसको आन्सर दिइसके we can do but here we only discuss any two quantity भनेर यसको आन्सर पाइसक्यो अरु यो डिस्कसनमा कन्फ्युजन छ भने क्वेशन सोध्न सक्छौ राइट नो क्वेशन यसको प्र्याक्टिस हाम्रो assignment set में हामी गर्छौं it's very easy if you know any two quantity you can find approximate number you can easily find it absolute error in the quotient or absolute error in the product of any two quantity you have the formula how can we get this हामीले डिस्कस पनि गरिसक्यौं later we have mathematical preliminaries ओके देख्यौ म्याथमेटिकल प्रिलिमिनरीज यहाँ हाम्रो थियोरमहरु छ हामी च्याप्टर 2 देखि च्याप्टर लास्ट सम्मको लागि प्री रिक्विजिट कन्टेन्टको रूपमा हेर्छौं फर्स्ट थियोरमले के भन्छ म व्हाइट बोर्डबाट पनि डिस्कसन गर्छु म्याथमेटिकल प्रिलिमिनरीज सबैले हेरौं तिमीसँग यो थियोरमसँग डिस्कसन गर्दा क्वेशनहरु छ भने पनि यु क्यान आस्क बट लिसन केयरफुली केही डाउट भए अनम्युट गरेर क्वेशन सोध इफ f of x is continuous जस्ट म रिड गर्छु र पछि व्हाइट बोर्डबाट देखाउँछु इफ f of x is continuous in closed interval ab okay what it means a function our curve is continuous on any closed interval ab means we can there is no chain or disconnect we can draw the curve without lifting the pen from a to b हामीलाई यो थाहा छ very easily what does mean by continuous curve on any interval and f a and f b at point a we have the ordinate f a and at point b we have the ordinate b are of opposite sign if f a is positive f b should be negative if f b is positive f a should be negative these two are opposite sign then there exists at least one point C on a curve that C lies between A and B where f of C equals to 0 okay function को curve को त्यस्तो point जहाँ functional value 0 हुन्छ भने we can decide that C is roots हामी second chapter मा roots पढ्छौं रूट्स फाइन्डिङ यो थियोरम फर्स्ट थियोरम नै हामी अप्लाई गर्छौं थियोरमले के भन्छ म व्हाइट बोर्डबाट देखाउँछु अद्वैतले आन्सर दिने ल व्हाइट बोर्ड खुल्दै छ देखियो कि देखेन आन्सर दिने है देखेको हो व्हाइट बोर्ड
यस म्याम
ओके मैले व्हाइट बोर्डमा एउटा लाइन खिचे vertical line we represent x line another line x horizontal line we represent it by x I draw the curve a continuous curve which define on closed interval ab you see the continuous curve okay हाम्रो तीनवटा point भएको भयो केही छैन see at least one भनिरा छौं हामीले we see point A what is the ordinate of f of a point what is the ordinate f of a either it is positive or negative हामी के देख्छौं f of a is ordinate f of a at point A is negative or positive we see f of a what we see f of a is कसैले आन्सर दिन सक्छौ here ordinate f of a is negative similarly b point what we see at point b ordinate f of b is what positive see f a and f b are opposite sign here we see f a and f b are opposite sign right I eraser this is B point, no eraser. Eraser is here. यो चाहिँ हाम्रो उसको आइदियो पकाए व्हाइट बोर्ड को आएन ओके we see eraser b point देखेको छौ b f of b point सबैले देख्यो है तीन जनाबाट आन्सर देऊ वा कसैले अनम्युट गरेर आन्सर दिए नि हुन्छ f of b पोजिटिभ f of a नेगेटिभ we have the curve y equals to f of x तिमीले स्मुथ नदेखे नि you accept agree f of y equals to f of x is our continuous curve okay it continuous on closed interval ab continuous on closed interval ab right okay here f and f are opposite sign okay the curve satisfies these necessary conditions then there exists at least one at most many at least one this point see here I called x1 or c1 okay x1 another point I called it as x2 okay another point x3 this x2 this point is x3 okay at point x1 x2 and x3 we have x y equals to के होला what is y values at point x1 x2 and x3 can you say what is y values
0
okay here this is the line y equals to 0 we have the function y equals to f of x see at x f of x1 y equals to 0 at f of x2 y equals to 0 at f of x3 y equals to 0 can you say x1 x2 x3 be the roots of this curve y equals to f of x or function we can say x1 x2 x3 is also a root or हाम्रो theorem ले के भन्थ्यो I recall okay y equals to f of x is continuous function right define on closed interval ab then f a and f b are opposite sign there exists at least one point at most many that lies between a and b at that point functional values are f of here f of x1 x2 and x3 equals to 0 right तिमीलाई क्वेशन आउन सक्छ नहुने नि छ या हुने नि छ केही क्वेशनहरु रेज भएको छ भने हामी यही ड्राइङ गर्छौं प्लिज anybody confusion छ भने you can ask some question गर्न सक्छौ I suppose this is a question छ भने गर ल म यतिकै ड्राइङ गरे तिम्रो क्वेशन को लागि what is the theorem says very simply y equals to a function should be continuous on closed interval ab right and ab means f a and f b are opposite sign f a and f b are opposite sign यो दुईटा condition holds भयो भने there exists at least one point that lies between a and b where functional values at that point f of c I suppose f of c equals to 0 right ल क्वेशन केही छ तिम्रो माइन्डमा छैन भने कस्तो क्वेशन हुन सक्छ म राख्छु कोही छौ ठीक छ
म्याम
हजुर
एकजना साथी आउन मिलिरहेको छैन भन्दैछ लिंकबाट खोल्दा उसको खै के एक्सेस ग्रान्ट के भइरहेको छैन
भइरहेछन् के गर्ने मैले एडमिन गर्दिन्छु हैन कोही बसिरहेछ
पार्टिसिपेन्ट लिमिट राख्नुपर्छ क्या हो म्याम
छैन शिवजीले ठीक छ कोही छ वेटिङमा भने म राख्दिन्छु वेटिङमा अहिले कोही छैन 60 जनामा 60 जनै छौ
म्याम एकजना तपाई हो नि त
ओके भेरी गुड आन्सर क्वेशन
त्यही एकजना साथी चाहिँ त्यही लिंक खुलेन भनेर भन्दै थियो ग्रुपमा
म शिवजीलाई सोधिदिन्छु है कि अहिले सोलुसन ल्याउनलाई पक्का है एकछिन वेट गर सबैले क्वेशन थिंक गर न क्वेशन थिंक गर के सोध्ने यो थियरमसँग रिलेटेड या फेरि या दुबै something you can ask. म फ्लोर ओपन गर्छु, क्वेसन केही छ भने सोध, नभए हामी अर्को थियरममा जान्छौँ। शिवजी हामी 60 जना छौँ हैन, अनि यहाँ हाम्रो लिमिटेसन छ, एकजना विद्यार्थी चाहिँ आउन सकिराख्नु भएको छैन, त्यसैले शिवजीले कतै पार्टिसिपेन्ट लिमिट गरिदिनु भएको छ कि भनेर मात्र बुझ्न खोजेको। 61 हुनुपर्ने म सहितले हामी 65 जनामा 5 त्यो खोलिदिनुस् न एकचोटि। गाह्रै भयो नि आज त। ल हो र छ है, ठिक छ, थ्याङ्क यू। कसले क्वेसन रेज गराएको थियो? भेरी 2 दिन त हाम्रो प्रब्लम थिएन, प्रब्लम थाहा भयो। शिवजीले 60 जस्तो लाग्यो होला, मलाई भुल्नु भयो उहाँले। ओके, क्वेसन छैन, म भु हुन्छ। अब अर्को साथी आउन सक्ने चाहिँ पछि मात्र हुनुहुन्छ है, शिवजीले ओपन गरेपछि। हामी यो थियरमलाई स्टप गर्छौँ यही, नेक्स्टमा जान्छौँ। यु नो, यु आर भेरी फ्यामिलियर अबाउट रोल्स थियरम, जस्ट वी रिकल। सुनिरहेछौ सन्देश? सन्देश, ओके। व्हाट इज रोल्स थियरम? हामी यसको डिस्कसन गर्छौँ, सुन ल। Here also the function is continuous on closed interval AB, and function should be differentiable on open interval AB, right? And FA equals to FP equals to 0, or FA equals to FP only. These are the necessary condition for Rolle's theorem. If curve satisfy these condition, then there exists at least one values, say C. Your correction ma गर्ने छु, there exists at least one values, say C, where f dash C equals to 0. F dash C, we see here, it gives the slope of the tangent line where curve neither increase nor decrease, so the slope will be 0. We notice f dash C equals to 0. ठीक छ, we also see FA equals to FP, both ordinate are same. Here FA equals to FE equals to 0. Everyone see we have the curve y equals to f of x, which is continuous on closed interval AB. We also see our curve is differentiable, and FA equals to FE, or FA equals to FE equals to 0. Then there exists at least one point, say C, where f dash C equals to 0. That C must lies between A and B. Okay, next, this is the continuation of Rolle's theorem. Let me see. शिवजी, लिमिटेसन हुँदैन, 200 सम्म आउँछ, कतै रेस्ट्रिक्सन गर्न नि मिल्छ, कति पार्टिसिपेन्ट भनेर त्यो गर्नु भएको छ कि भनेर सोधेको छैन। ठीक छ, त्यसो भए के प्रब्लम होला हामी पछि हेर्छौँ है। हुन्छ हुन्छ हुन्छ। अनुभव, अनुभव,
यस म्याम,
त्यो प्रब्लम चाहिँ के हुन सक्छ? आइराख्नु भएको छ है, भेषराज जोशी हो, आइसक्नु भयो। अब हामी 62 भइसक्यौँ, ठीक छ, अघि बढौँ है, आइसक्नु भएको छ उहाँ। त्यसो भए हामीले म्याथ 101 मा यो डिस्कसन गरेको थिएनौँ। FA इक्वल्स टु FE इक्वल्स टु 0 भनेको थियो। मैले यो फिगर पनि लिएर आएँ। रोल्स थियरम satisfy if we have FA equals to FE. See here, we have 2 points. Here we see FA equals to FE, curve is continuous on closed interval AB, okay, and we see 2 points. This point, C point, where f dash C equals to 0. We can draw another point here also, where slope equals to 0. At here we see 2 points, at least 1 point, at most many. यो फिगरमा पनि यो ड्राइङ फिगर हो, just you can see from point A to point B we have continuous curve, and at a point A to point B between point A to point B, we see the differentiable or smooth curve, right? And between them, we see C1 and C2 point where f dash C or slope equals to 0 or tangent parallel to x-axis. हामी यही कुरा देख्न सक्छौं. Exactly at point A, this is the corner point, right? The intersecting point between these two curves. This is not differential point. Here we also, this is not differential point at x equals to b. You see the intersecting point or disconnect point at x equals to b. From between a to b, the curve is smooth or differentiable. Just तिमीले जानिसकेछौ why we write, why we say in Rolle's theorem, the function should be continuous on closed interval AB and differentiable on open interval AB. Just I highlight from this figure, we have generalized Rolle's theorem, generalization of Rolle's theorem. What is stand for? Let we discuss. हामी छलफल मात्र गर्छौं. तिमीले यसको एक्जाम्पल आफै ल्याउनु पर्ने हुन्छ. Let f of x be a function which is n times differentiable on AB, n times derivative, right? If we have y equals to x to the power 5, तिमी डेरिभेटिभ गर्दै जाऊ, कति टाइम सम्म जान्छ, n time differentiable if f of x vanish at the n plus 1 times. N distinct point x0, x1 to xn in AB. Then there exists a number c in AB. There exists a number c in AB such that fnc equals to 0. Okay, what is fnc? What is fn? Okay, n times derivative of function f. Okay, fn n times derivative of function f at point c equals to 0. Okay, function f of x n times derivative huncha on closed interval AB if f of x vanish at the n plus 1 distinct point x0 to xn in AB. यो criteria satisfy huncha भने curve ma at least one point you can see there exists a number c. No, at least one. There exists a number c in AB such that nth times derivative at x equals to c will be 0. यो तिम्रो लागि टास्क. नेक्स्ट क्लासमा चाहिँ एक्जाम्पल लिएर आऊ, कस्तो प्रब्लम हामी लिन सक्छौं. इजिली यु क्यान सी, थिंक गर. नेक्स्ट क्लासको लागि छ है यो. हामी अर्को डिस्कसनमा जान्छौं. वी हैव इंटरमीडिएट भ्यालु थियरम. ओके, intermediate values theorem. What intermediate value theorem stand for? हामी discussion गर्छौं. In intermediate value theorem, function should be continuous in closed interval AB. You know, function continuous, curve continuous means there is no change. No, we can draw the curve without lifting the pen. Continuous curve, just age सँग height को relation पनि हामी हेर्न सक्छौं. And k be any number between a and b. Here we see k be any number between f a and f b. See this graph. Later I will discuss some from example. We have the curve y equals to f of x, which is continuous on closed interval a and b. Here f a is the ordinate at the point a and f b be the ordinate at point b. Let's pick k ordinate or k point, k values between f a and f b. Okay, that k equals to f of c. See here, f of c. It means c must lies between a and b. It represents k be the intermediate values or k lies between f a and f b. जस्ट हामी यहाँ एउटा एक्जाम्पल हेर्छौं. 7 years को एज, जस्ट यो एक्चुअल नहुन सक्छ. 7 years को एज को म्यान को हाइट 4 feet छ. उ 16 वर्षको हुँदा उसको हाइट 6 feet भयो. मैले 4 to 6 को बीचको इन्टरमिडिएट कुनै भ्यालु लिदिए. I pick 5. अब तिमी के भन्न सक्छौ यो 5 हाइट हुने 5 फिट हाइट हुने एज 7 to 16 को बीचमै रेन्ज भित्रको इयरमै पर्छ भनेर तिमी क्लेम गर्न सक्छौ भने तिमीले के भन्न सक्छौ एज आई सपोज 16 इयर्समा भयो नो 14 इयर्स एजमा भयो 5 फिट अग्लो भन्यो भने मैले के भन्न सक्छु एफ अफ 14 इक्वल्स टु 5 फिट भन्न सक्छौ यो चाहिँ 5 हाइट हुने एज 7 to 16 एजको बीचमा पर्छ भने 5 बी द इन्टरमिडिएट भ्यालुज अफ एफ अफ 7 एन्ड एफ अफ 16 और 4 to 6 फिट हाइटमा पर्छ भन्न सक्छौ दिस इज द फुल एक्जाम्पल अफ इन्टरमिडिएट भ्यालुज थियरम ओके just C lies between here we see C lies between A and B हामी भन्न सक्छौं कसरी 7 र 16 इयर्स को एज कै बीचमा 5 फिट हाइट हुने एज पर्छ नै भनेर इजिली we can claim but हेर मैले यहाँ के लेखिरहेको छु then there exists a number C at least one हो at most many हुन सक्छ मैले बुकको भर्सनमा मात्र लेखेको तिमीले त्यस्तो कर्व देख्छौ 5 फिट एज हाइट हुने एज चाहिँ हाम्रो 2-3 वटा एजमा उत्तिकै एज आई मिन 12 13 14 मा एउटै हाइट भेट्न पनि सक्दछौ सो there exists a number C in AB such that f of C equals to K there exists at least one at least many हुन सक्छ C1 C2 C3 f of C1 f of C2 f of C3 सबैमा तिमीले के भ्यालु चाहिँ देख्न सक्छौ के टाइम्स हाइट नै देख्न सक्छौ बट 5 is the intermediate values between 4 and 6 भन्ने क्लेम गर्ने एउटै आधार के छ हामीसँग 5 height between the age 7 and 16 को बीचमै पर्छ भन्ने कुरा हामी भन्न सक्छौं why the height of the age continuous curve नै हो ओके 7 इयर्स मा 4 फिट छ 16 इयर मा 6 फिट छ भने 5 फिट को एज भनेको बिट्विन 7 and 16 को बीचमै हो भनेर हामी क्लेम गर्न सक्छौं सो 5 is the intermediate values between FA and FB like C 4 and 6 ओके अब इन्टरमिडिएट भ्यालुजले के ग्यारेन्टी गर्न सक्दो रहेछ It's guarantee a number exists but does not give a method for finding the number. यो 16 14 नै हो भनेर यो हामीलाई रोल्स थियरममा जस्तो C lies between A and B. What actual the values of C? If Rolle's theorem satisfy, हामीले C को भ्यालुज निकालेको पनि थियो. But 5 you know 5 lies between 4 and 6 but the theorem does not guarantee us कुन एजमै हो भन्ने चाहिँ भन्दैन हामी हेर्न सक्छौं राइट यसले मेथड चाहिँ दिदैन तर त्यो यो कन्डिसन सेटिस्फाई भयो भनेदेखि हुन्छ थियरम सेटिस्फाई इन एनी C belongs to A and B such that f of C equals to K हुन्छ चाहिँ भन्छ राइट तिमीले यो थियरम पछि अप्लाई गर्छौ अगेन we have Lagrange mean value theorem we called it as mean value theorem for derivative you are most familiar about mean value theorem or Lagrange mean value theorem. Here we have also function continuous on any closed interval and function differentiable on any open interval or our curve must differentiable. If our curve differentiable then there exists at least one value, at least one point, we say C that lies between our curve. No two in point that lies between our curve where f dash C equals to slope of the tangent line equals to fb minus fa over b minus a. This is the slope of second line. See the figure AB, our second line, it passes through the curve 2 or more than 2 point but a pass on a okay. Here we see the tangent line, it passes the single point, just toss and pass, okay, not cross. Tangent, we see the tangent line, this tangent line, Okay, the slope of tangent line is here, f dash c. We know how can we find, easily we can find the slope of tangent line. The slope of second line, a point, small a comma f of a coordinate, b point has a coordinate b comma f of b. What is the slope? We have the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, fb minus fa over b minus a. Easily we can find the slope of second line. Okay, f dash c represent the slope of tangent line. Here we see two slopes are equal. If two slopes are equal, what we see? तिमी के भन्न सक्छौ? दुईवटा लाइनहरुको स्लोप इक्वल छ भने के भन्न सक्छौ? सेकेन्ड लाइन AB has to be parallel to tangent line. किन हो? They both have same slope. These two are parallel to each other. Okay, what is the necessary condition of the curve? Curve should be differentiable. As we know, every differentiable curve is continuous. Okay, just we have differentiable curve. In that case, we can see f dash c equal fb minus fa over b minus a. Our second line has to be parallel to tangent line. हामी देख्न सक्छौं. Okay, you at least one point C. We have at most many. हामी next figure मा हेर्छौं. See here, this is the graph. We see the second line is here, this to this. Okay, we call this line is second line. We have point xi1, okay, tangent line. Another tangent is here. We see f dash xi1 equals to fb minus fa over b minus a. Here we see also f dash xi2 equals to fb minus fa over b minus a. Okay. Here we see these two tangent line are parallel to the second line. Okay. Again we see at 2 point which satisfy the Lagrange mean value theorem. Our second line has to parallel to given two tangent line. The curve shows 2 point. We can see at least one, at most many, right? हामी next मा जान्छौं. We have Taylor series for a function of one variable. Taylor series for a function of one variable. हामीले पहिले भनिरहेछौं function continuous र function को nth term nth derivative सम्म चाहिँ continuous हुनुपर्छ वा function को derivative पनि continuous हुनुपर्छ भनेर हामीले discussion वा त math 207 मा Taylor series expansion derive पनि गरेको छौं. यसको हामी apply गर्छौं पछि. हामी हेर्छौं what is f of x equals to at x equals to a, f of x equals to fa plus हामीले s times f dash a लेखेको थियौं होला पहिला. अरु s times f dash x हामी at x point x equals to a मा हेर्दै छौं. f of a plus x minus a f dash a plus x minus a को whole square over 2 factorial f double dash a plus भेषराज जोशीले एन्सर देऊ. थर्ड नेक्स्ट टर्म के हुन्छ? भेषराज जोशी
x minus a को
गिभ
whole cube by factorial into f of a third derivative.
Good. f of third derivative a plus that so on. Okay. As you know, thank you. Maclaurin's expansion or series मा जाउँ. It is a Taylor series, but हामी के लेख्छौं? Central x equals to a लाई 0 गर्छौं. f of x equals to f of 0 plus x minus a, we have a 0. X f dash 0 plus x square by 2 factorial f double dash 0 plus skip by 3 factorial f triple dash 0. तिमी फ्यामिलियरै छौ म्याक्लारिन सेरिजमा. ओके, हामी डिस्कस गर्छौं टेलर सेरिज फर ए फंक्शन अफ 2 or more than 2 भेरिएबल. यसको अप्लाई हाम्रो यही च्याप्टरमा हुन्छ. व्हाट इज द टेलर सेरिज फर ए फंक्शन अफ 2 भेरिएबल? वी हैव see here everyone f of x comma y. like f of x comma y. Here I write x1 plus delta x1 look like x1 with its absolute error delta x1. Okay, it look like x comma y. भनेको we write here x2 plus delta times x2 quantity x2 with its absolute error लेखिराखेको हो हामीले f of x comma y. अब पार्शियल फर्ममा टेलर सिरिजले के भन्छ त फेरि अघिको माथिको जस्तै फंक्सन f of xy and its partial derivative up to nth order are finite and continuous at all point xy भनेर हाइलाइट गर्न सक्छौ function should be continuous. Okay, and its partial derivative up to nth order are continuous for all point xy. यो कुरा हाइलाइट गर्छौं त्यो कन्डिसन भइसकेपछि मात्रै you can apply Taylor series. Function should be continuous. Partial छ भने its partial derivative is also continuous for all point given point, right? यो कुरा just you look x means x1 plus delta x1 look like this x comma y is x2 plus delta times x2 f of xy. What is the Taylor series expansion? हामीले सिंगल भेरिएबल मा त डेराइभ गरेको थियौ यहाँ हामी डेराइभ गर्दैनौं जस्तो 2 भेरिएबल बाट 3 भेरिएबल को फर्मुला निकाल्छौं 3 बाट जेनरलाइज गर्छौं हामी n number of variable, right? This equals to f of x1 plus delta x1 x comma y को. See here we write f of x1 comma x2 plus partial derivative of function f with respect to x1 times delta times x1. See, f be the function in term of xy like x1 and x2. Delta x1 means error, absolute error of, हामी पछि यही फर्मुला absolute error नै निकाल्छौं quantity x1 को absolute error of quantity x1. See here this quantity represent partial derivative of function f. We have the function f in term of x1 and x2 variables with respect to x1 times delta x1 plus here we have partial derivative of function f with respect to x2 taking x1 as a constant times delta x2. Okay, हामी पछि एक्जाम मा चाहिँ डेल्टा को स्क्वायर र हायर पावर लाई नेग्लेक्ट गर्छौं delta x1 delta x2 delta x3 or delta xi I runs from 1 to 3 up to n itself error from very small quantity फेरि तिमी मल्टिप्लाई गर्दै गर्दै जान्छौ भने it converts to 0 non significance value दिन्छ हामी ओमिट गर्छौं हटाउँछौं इरेज गर्छौं वा त हाम्रो क्याल्कुलेसन मा राख्दैनौं एउटा कारण थियो अर्को कारण चाहिँ हाम्रो क्याल्कुलेसन गाह्रो हुने भएर कम्प्लेक्स भइदिने भएको कारण हामी हायर टर्मलाई हटाउँदै जान्छौं यतिखेर नन सिग्निफिकेन्स भए पनि एरर अकर हुन्छ जसलाई हामी ट्रान्सिडेन्टल एरर भन्छौं हायर पावरलाई हटाउँदै जाँदा तिमीले लेक्चरमा भेट्छौ तर हाम्रो सिलेबसमा छैन त्यसैले मैले लेक्चरमा चाहिँ इन्क्लुड गरेको छु पछि लेक्चर कपी दिन्छु डेल्टा xi को सेकेन्ड र हायर पावर हामी हटाइदिन्छौं हाम्रो क्याल्कुलेसनमा अप टु यहाँसम्म राख्छौं यदि हाम्रो 3 भेरिएबल फंक्सन भइदिएको भए f of x1 plus delta x1 x2 plus delta x2 comma x3 plus hello हजुर के भयो प्रब्लम के आयो
Ma'am, हजुरको साउन्ड डिस्कनेक्ट भयो अनि
ए मैले बुझे त्यो नोटिफिकेसन आउँछ के अटो नै भइदियो जस्तो लाग्यो कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ द इन्टरनेट कनेक्सन इज अनस्टेबल भनिदिन्छ त्यतिखेर म थाहा पाउँछु अहिले चाहिँ उसले कुनै वार्निङ नै दिएन एकैचोटी कनेक्टिङमा गएर घुम्दियो त्यसैले अहिले सुनेको छौ है अहिले सुनेको छौ अहिले सुनेको छौ हामी सुरु गर्छौं स्टिल यु कान्ट मिनिमाइज जुम व्हेन यु आर रेकर्डिङ द मिटिङ ओके ठीक छ देखेको पनि छौ हामी डिस्कस गर्दै थियौं if we have 3 variable how to expand Taylor series
भएको छैन
हजुर
स्क्रिन शेयर चाहिँ भएको
ए कनेक्सन नै हट्यो त्यसको मतलब खै म फेरि शेयर इटबाट जानु पर्यो शेयर स्क्रिन अब भयो
म्याम
देखेको छु टेलर series for a function of 2 variable
छ म्याम
okay what is the Taylor series expansion for a function of 3 variable हामी यही कुरा हेर्न लागिरा छौं है के हुन्छ त फंक्सनमा f of x1 plus delta times x1 x2 plus delta times x2 x3 plus delta times x3 okay up to हामी delta को power 1 सम्म मात्र एक्सपान्ड गर्छौं f of x1 x2 x3 plus del f del x1 delta x1 plus del f del x2 delta x2 plus del f del x3 delta x3. Here we write function f in term of x1 x2 x3. Then यसको हाम्रो स्क्वायरिङ हुन्छ क्युबिङ हुन्छ अहिले स्क्वायरिङ टर्म हामीले स्क्वायर को टर्मलाई ब्रेक डाउन गरेर यहाँ लेखिरा छौं हामी यो टर्मलाई नेग्लेक्ट गर्छौं हाम्रो क्याल्कुलेसनमा let we see or discuss Taylor series for a function of several variable. What is the Taylor series for a function expansion for a function of several variable? We have function x1 plus delta x1 to xn plus delta xn. See here n term some function with several variable. Just x1, x2, x3, x4 dot xn. But here we include each term each variables error term include गरिरा छौं हाम्रो approximate solution वा approximate number मा हामी डिस्कसन गर्छौं हामीले विश्वास गर्छौं error may occur error might occur so हामीले के भनिरा छौं error term line include गर्छौं तिमीले यो माथिको डिस्कसनबाट इजिली you can say what is the Taylor series expansion भन्न सक्छौ easily f of x1 x2 dot xn function f with several variable x1 to xn plus mathi jastै del f del x1 delta x1 is the error term of variable x1. Similarly, del f del x2 delta x2 plus dot del f del xn delta xn plus dot. यो हामी एक्सपान्सन गर्न सक्छौं हामी ब्रेक लिन्छौं हुन्छ 5 मिनेट 10 मिनेट आज खाली हामीसँग यो नेक्स्ट टपिक्स जनरल एरर फर्मुला हामी यसको डेरिभेसन हेर्छौं र प्रब्लम गर्छौं यो कन्टेन्टको इन्डिङ नै हो आज तर आधी घण्टामा हामीले सक्नु पर्छ तिमीले ब्रेक लिन सक्छौ 110 मै ब्याक भए नि हुन्छ ब्याक भनेको नछोड वाल चाहिँ ब्रेक लिन सक्छौ सबै रेडी छौ अर कन्टिन्यू गरौँ के भन्छौ हजुर ब्रेक हुन्छ 10 मिनेट 110 मा ब्याक हो है म वेट गरिरा हुन्छु ठीक छ हजुर